And we're back to HTML Canvas. Let me show you a fade effect that we can add to objects, for example to text. It should fade when we left click. So I've created an event listener here. Let me delete these and we'll go over it step by step. We get our canvas as usual, so I'll keep this part. And I've got the typical doc type, this boilerplate HTML and a little bit of CSS added under style. Now let us create the initial draw. We'll call the function and now we'll have to create this function right here, draw text. I went over how to draw text in earlier tutorials in my HTML Canvas playlist. So let us quickly go over this. We'll clear the rectangle at first. So every time an iteration is run through, the old one gets erased. We use fill star black. It's by default black, but I'll add it here anyway. Font 20 pixels Arial. And then the fill text method here. We use text. You can add here whatever you want. On the second and third values, these are for the position. X value is the first number. Let me make that maybe 150, something like this. And if I add click to fade, I may have to reposition that, maybe up to 100. And for Y, I'll keep the 200, it's in center. So this is a good place to start. You can also adjust the font here, so we're just going to size it up. We'll keep it to 20 pixels. Let's add our event listener. Nothing new here, we'll just add it to a canvas and it's a click. And when the event happens, we want to have a fade away function called. Now let us create this function. We need to fade away. I'll use the alpha channel. When you think about RGBA, we have red, green, blue, and then alpha, which is, you could also simply call it opacity. CTX global alpha, I'll set it to this alpha, and the initial value is 1.0. It's fully black, fully visible. And then we want to have a part of it subtracted with every iteration so that it becomes transparent over time. But we want this to happen over a certain interval. And when this interval is called, we'll have to redraw the text all the time. Here again I have to set the global alpha to the alpha, and now I'll use minus equals 0.02 maybe. So with each iteration 0.02 gets subtracted from 1.0, and this is then the global alpha of our CDX element, which is the text. And if the alpha arrives at a value of smaller than 0, we want to clear the interval, and we also have to clear the rect, because otherwise it might be that a little bit of the text is still visible. And here we can set our interval. Let me make this 50, so that's the milliseconds. Let's refresh it, everything works. Now if I cut this out, the last clear rect here in our if statement, you can see it's a very, very low value for the alpha, but it's still visible somewhat. And this is why I've added it. And once again, the number down here, this is the interval in milliseconds. If I make this 500 and I left click, it's barely visible, but there is a fade. Let me make this maybe 100. Then I go down to 10, way faster. And now I make it 1. And it almost instantly fades. And that's about it. This is how you can create this fade effect, and you can apply this not just to text but also to all other elements that you draw on your HTML canvas. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.